You're watching Experience Comic Culture and Sales. Streaming live daily to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter.
2, 1.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Dan Wickline Show. I apologize for not being on the air last week. It was not a very good week. Had to put my dog down on Sunday of last week, Artemis, who I had had for 13 and a half years. She was 15. I got her as a rescue. She was a pit bull and was just absolutely a beautiful, kind, gentle dog. So yeah, that's, I wasn't in shape to do a show last week and the research and all that other stuff. So that is why there was no Dan Wickline Show last week. But I am back and got some stuff to talk about, got some news, something specifically for Ed, who I see already in the chat. And we're going to talk about DC's new compact comics, which I found kind of interesting and have been reading the last few days. So let's go ahead and kick this off. JD, if you will. Hey everybody, welcome to the Dan Wickline Show here on The Experience. Good lineup here today. We got What's in the Box, we've got Geek Chat, and we've got Sketch Up, so you're going to want to stick around for all that. Please hit those like and subscribe buttons, and do me a favor, tell 10 of your friends about the show, and tell them to tell 10 of their friends, and so on and so on. And maybe we can get a pretty good audience going here. Hello to Ed, hello to Triple B. We got some news and stuff, but I do want to give you a quick update on the other show I do, which is Pop Go the Writers. As if you tuned in to Sunday night's show, you will learn, as I did, that it was going to be Jim Beard's last show. Jim has had some major changes in his life, and being committed to a Sunday night show was no longer something he could do. He is welcome back at any time. He's welcome to pop up on this show if he'd like. Jim's a good guy. You should check out his Becky Books stuff online. And yeah, I've enjoyed the hell out of working with Jim the last couple of years. Prior to that was Paul Story, and prior to that was Dan Taylor and Rosalinda Diaz. So I've had some really good co-hosts on there. What's going to happen next? I'm not 100% sure. It may slightly go on hiatus while I figure it out. I am talking to somebody about maybe slightly changing the format of it, but we shall see. Again, I'm just thinking about it, trying to figure out what I want to do with that show. So I will let you guys know. Hello, Lorena. Good to see you. I will let you guys know as soon as I know what's going on. All right, we are going to jump into the news here. There's some interesting stuff going on. A little surprise, but it's not a heavy news day, but you guys know that there is a Vision spin-off series in the works, and it's kind of had to been in the works since WandaVision. Now, I know we have the Agatha All Along coming up, which is a spin-off of WandaVision. But we really need to know what is going on with the White Vision or white non-colored Vision. Or there's not a great term for him yet. A call-in show would be cool if that's even an option. Oh, that's interesting. I'll have to think about that. Now, we know that there is a Vision series in the works. There's been a title called Vision Quest that has been bouncing around. There's no official connection to the show, but it's not a bad title. We do know that the showrunner for Star Trek Picard, Terry Matalas, is helming this new series, and that it will be Paul Bettany playing the colorless version of the Vision that we last saw having a philosophical debate with the Hex version of the Vision over the ship of Theseus and how much you can take away from something before it no longer is that thing. Now, the interesting thing is that a lot of the major sites are reporting, again, none of this has been officially confirmed by Marvel, but a lot of the major sites, Deadline, Variety, Hollywood Reporter, are all saying that in the series, James Spader will be reprising the voice role of Ultron. Now, Ultron, of course, was last seen in Avengers Age of Ultron about a decade ago now. He was created by Tony Stark and Bruce Banner, Robert Downey Jr., and Mark Ruffalo. And the idea was to protect the Earth, kind of creating an AI to run robots and stuff to be a shield for the Earth. Well, in learning as AI does, it realized that humanity and the Avengers specifically are the biggest threat to the planet. So it tried to wipe out the Avengers, and it created itself a vibranium body. And the Avengers snuck Jarvis, the Jarvis AI, into the body instead of Ultron, and that's what created the Vision, of course, with a little help from Thor. Now, it shouldn't be weird about James Spader joining a TV show, because as much as we think of James Spader as a big actor and stuff, he did The Blacklist for a decade, and that just ended. And before that, he did Boston Legal. So he's kind of a TV guy. So I totally can see that, and I can't wait to hear him again as the Vision. Again, nothing official on that from Marvel, but the sites that you can pretty much rely on are the ones reporting it. Are any Ted Lasso fans here? I've never sat down and watched a full episode of Ted Lasso, but they exist so much in clips on YouTube and TikTok and Facebook and stuff like that, that I feel like I know the show pretty well, and I enjoy the scenes that I've seen. The dart throwing one is amazing, stuff like that. Some of the soccer football plays. It looks like it's a good show, and I like the idea of it. Well, there is a chance that there's going to be a fourth season. When I say there's going to be a chance is that Warner Brothers has went ahead and picked up the options on 3 of the cast members. Now, these were basically 3 members who were part of UK's acting union Equity. That's Hannah Waddingham, who plays Rebecca, the owner of AFC Richmond, Brett Goldstein, the former player turned coach Roy Kent, who also played Hercules in Thor: Love and Thunder, and Jeremy Swift, who plays the director of football operations, Leslie Higgins. And I don't think you can get a more British name. Now, again, they were under contract, so with the UK acting agency or union, the ones that were under SAG-AFTRA will have to make new contracts. Those have already expired. Also, the reports say that Jason Sudeikis and Brendan Hunt will return. Now, they were co-creators of the series, but they're also Ted Lasso and Coach Beard, who you kind of can't do the series without. Also expected to return would be Juno Temple, who played Keely Jones. The only person they don't think will be able to come back if this does go to full fruition is Phil Dunster, who plays Jamie Tart. And that's because he's on 2 different shows already, The Devil's Hour and Surface. So maybe we get the show, maybe not, but either way, it doesn't look like Jamie Tart will be part of it. What did I miss today? I love the memes that come out of Ted, but I haven't seen it yet. Yeah, see, that's where I am too. But it does look fun. It really does look fun. All right. Penguin fans. They just did a screening last night of The Batman There was a, hey, Never, how you doing? There was a screening of Batman last night. There's a popcorn bucket that was the bat signal, the whole thing. But they also showed a clip for the upcoming series, The Penguin. We haven't seen that. It hasn't gotten leaked online, darn it. But it's coming soon. We're not that far away, and we're now finally hearing that what the length of the episodes and the titles of the first 4 episodes, which is impressive, because that's been the big argument against these shows from like Marvel and DC, is that the episodes are really short. Well, not this time. The first episode, which will be called After Hours, is said to be 67 minutes. Hour and 7 minutes. Now it's not Penguina. It's not going to be Oswald the Cobblepot. It's Colin Farrell coming back as Oswald. And the episode's called After Hours, like I said. And you could take that as one of 2 ways. Now, it might be After Hours is like an After Hours club. Maybe the Iceberg Lounge is an After Hours club. But it could also be we're talking about the hours after the Riddler flooded Gotham. And this is supposed to pick up right after Batman, or the Batman, and go right into the Batman 2. They're even starting to call this an intraquel, like a sequel or a prequel. Well, this is an interquel to go between the 2 movies. So just kind of fascinating by that. The second episode will be called Inside Man and runs 56 minutes. So even though, sometimes the premiere is longer, but 56 minutes is a good runtime. Now, Inside Man could refer to someone placed in the Falcone family but working for Oswald, but I'm thinking it's probably more of a reference to Salvador Maroni, played by Clancy Brown, who we know from the trailers and stuff is in jail. Episode 3 is going to be called The Bliss, which runs 59 minutes, and I've got nothing on what that one's going to be. Sounds like the name of maybe a new drug. And the 4th episode this one's kind of interesting. It's called Centani, and it runs 58 minutes. Now, I looked up Centani, and I'm not even sure if I'm pronouncing it right, but translated, it basically means 100 years. But what it is, it's an Italian toast. That, not like bread, but a drink, toast, everybody, Centani. It basically wishes good health for 100 years. So while that doesn't narrow down exactly what it's about, I'm guessing there's going to be a big dinner scene, kind of like a red wedding for the Penguin show. And the episode, there's going to be 8 episodes long total. Godfather, there you go. And debut on September 19th. This is going to have strong Godfather and Soprano vibes. So if you are, whether you like the Batman movie or not, if you are a fan of mobster movies or mafia movies, this may be your cup of tea anyway. Is Duke on Instagram? Don't think I understand that one. Okay, now to kind of contrast to the Penguin, we also found out what the run times for the first 4 episodes of Agatha All Along, and they're not as good. We got roughly 40 minutes, 41 minutes, 37 minutes, and 41 minutes. That means the shortest episode of The Penguin is still 15 minutes longer than the longest episode of Agatha. By the way, Agatha debuts on September 18th, the day before. Duke Comic Art. Not familiar with him. Okay, so I'll let you guys have that discussion. All right, let's move on over. This may or may not come as a surprise to you, but it did kind of come as a surprise to me. Production has begun on Peacock's Twisted Metal Season 2, and the series is adding a few new actors. Sailor Bell Curda from High School the Musical, the series, Michael James Shaw from The Walking Dead, and Lisa Gilroy, Interior Chinatown, are joining in recurring roles. Now, they join Anthony Mackie and Stephanie Beatriz. Additional cast for the new season include returning stars Joe Sanoa and Will Arnett, and newly added Anthony Kerrigan, Richard DeClercq, Patty Guggenheim, and Tiana Okaya. Now, the reason this was kind of a surprise to me is that I watched the pilot episodes of Twisted Metal Season 1 and really didn't think it was going to get a Season 2. So I'm surprised. The new Jurassic World from Universal Pictures and Amblin Entertainment got an official title this morning. It's set to open July 2nd, 2025, and that means it's going to be a huge July next year, because we're going to get this new Jurassic World on July 2nd. We're going to get Superman on July 11th, and then Fantastic Four on July 25th, I think. So those are three big movies opening in July next year. The film will be titled Jurassic World Rebirth. It's going to star Scarlett Johansson, Jonathan Bailey, and Mahershala Ali. And the movie basically sees an intrepid team. This is the write-up, so. An intrepid team racing to secure DNA samples for the three most colossal creatures across land, sea, and air. 5 years after the events of Jurassic World Dominion, the planet's ecology has proven largely inhospitable to dinosaurs. Those remaining exist in isolated equatorial environments with climates resembling the one in which they once thrived. The three most colossal creatures within the tropical biosphere hold the key to a drug that will bring miraculous life-saving benefits to humankind. This will be directed by Garth Edwards, who did Rogue One, a Star Wars story, and is scripted by the original Jurassic Park scribe David Cope, based on, of course, characters by Michael Crichton. Okay, I'm trying to keep up with chat too, but I think I'm missing stuff. Oh, by the way, JD, if you want to throw it up there, we have a survey going on for the experience that I would appreciate if you guys could take if you haven't already taken it, because it helps us figure out what we're doing here and what we can do to make it better for you. So if we have that link, JD will throw it up in the chat. Okay, two more bits of news here. The fourth and there it is, survey's up. The fourth and final season of CW's Superman and Lois will debut sooner than expected. CW has made a change to the network's fall schedule with Superman and Lois and the new unscripted series The Wranglers moving from Thursday to Monday, swapping nights with the upcoming game show Scrabble and Trivial Pursuit. Now, those had originally been on Monday, but it's believed that the move is happening because ABC created an 8 to 10 block on Mondays of game shows with Celebrity Wheel of Fortune and Press Your Luck, and CW doesn't want to go head-to-head game show to game show. So they've already got Tuesday and Friday spoken for with WWE and Inside the NFL. So there weren't a lot of nights left to work with, so it ended up Monday night. Now, season 4 of Superman and Lois, which originally hadn't been slated to debut until October 17th, will now drop a 2-hour premiere on October 7th. So go ahead and change your calendars. And finally, the news that Ed has been waiting for. The long wait is over, Ed. The official trailer for The Legend of Vox Machina Season 3 is dropped. As the embers that last season settle, an even greater threat stirs will fracture Exandria and Vox Machina forever. And we're getting it on October 3rd. There you go, Ed. October 3rd. So October 3rd, you're going to get Vox Machina. And October 7th, you'll get Superman and Lois. So, all right, guys, that is the news. We will be right back with talking about DC's Compact Comics. Stay tuned.
In a world where you hit like and subscribe on our YouTube channel, that'd be really great. Thanks.
Symphonic verses, Nocturne's romance. A song of romanticized darkness, dreaming death by sleep.
Whoa. Whoa. Did you miss it? Yeah, they can go by pretty fast. Let's slow down the footage.
Welcome. It's time to skim some comics. Miles Morales Spider-Man, I will just tell you that Miles is very important in his role as a vampire. So
it's fine. If you like Hercules, read it. If you don't like it, don't worry about it. It's fine.
The art is still stunning. There's a panel, little spoiler, there's a panel in this where Chitauri first hits Lion-O, and he is the best "did she really just hit me" face I've ever seen put in a comic book.
Wow, live reviews of new comic books so you can be ready for New Comic Book Day. What is this? Oh, I see. It's Minute to Skim It. Part of the experience.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Dan Wickline Show here on The Experience. If you have not hit that thumbs up button, please do so now. By the way, I saw Jason came into chat. Hello, Jason. Good to see you. And you know what? I didn't comment on that. I just called you never, but never too old for Lego. I'm with you, buddy. I got a Batman 66 Batmobile over there in the corner that I've still been meaning to build. That is Lego. I need to build that. I want to get the new Batman one, the more the muscle car one. I like Legos too. All right. So Vox Machina season 2 left with the dragons conspiring to attack, right? Yes. So it's gonna check out the trailer. It talks about them having to go to hell, and there's some good stuff in it. So, all right. We are today going to talk about it. I am for anything that is going to grow the comic audience. I have been reading comics since I was 5 years old. That's when I got my first comic. Captain America issue. My Uncle Dave showed up, brought me a copy of Captain America, bought my brother a copy of Nick Fury. My brother scoffed at it because reading was not his thing, and I ended up with 2 comic books and getting more and more every day since. So I love comics. And then I found out about the comic industry and the people that make it, you know, going to a convention when I was 10 or 11, getting to meet Jack Kirby and Walter Koenig and Carolyn Monroe all on the same day. I was hooked. So I love this industry. I love working in it. I love being around it. And it hurts a little bit how it's been narrowing. And we're keeping going because there is still a steady audience, but we lost a lot of people when Pogs came out and then video games and all this other stuff. So, yeah, I love anything that might reach new readers. Reacher season 3 is still filming, should be coming soon. Never says, I just started doing Legos this year. I'm 45, never had them as a kid. I did Lego Optimus Prime, my first build. Nice. Very cool. I got some Star Wars Legos. I got an A-Wing over there. I've got, I love the superhero ones and stuff like that. But, okay. So, DC Comics has created a new line of books geared towards new readers, specifically readers who don't normally pick up comics. And now I'm not talking about like their absolute line or all in, these new storyline things. And that's a whole nother show about how I'd rather them just sit down and write good stories instead of big initiatives. But this DC Compact Comics is a line of graphic novels that are probably more familiar to non-comic readers. And a smaller price point, too. Like this one. This is All-Star Superman. And as you can see, it's about 8.5 by 5.5. Now, by comparison, this is a trade of Darth Vader, the only thing I had laying around. And if you put it side by side, you can see it's much smaller. Now, comparing it to, say, just a regular book, like the Vampirella book, it's not that much bigger. So you got the Hush one, huh? Yeah. I also picked up Far Sector. And we're going to talk about some of these. But Hush is my favorite Batman story of all time. Just hands down. So it was obviously the first one for me. But you look at this Hush is 5.5 by 8.5. And it sells for $9.99. And it's comparable to U.S. manga titles. So right there, you're saying, okay, we're gearing towards manga readers who pay about $10 for a book. It's the same size or around the same size. I think they're slightly under or slightly different, but close enough. Where the standard one is 8 by 10 and it costs $16.99 on Amazon. Now, you got to understand, there is something called psychological pricing. I studied it and worked with it back when I was a computer programmer. And it says that basically, if somebody is willing to pay $1 for something, they're willing to pay up to $1.49. If they're willing to pay $1.50, they'll go up to as much as $1.99, because in your mind, it's the same price. That's why when you go to a store, nothing is marked $2, it's $1.99. And it's not because they don't want that penny. It's because there's a better chance that you'll buy something at $9.99 than you will at $10. Because $9.99 psychologically feels better than $10. I know that sounds crazy, but it's absolutely true. So $9.99, great price point for a book. But it's more than just the cost. The size makes it feel more like you're reading a book than a comic book, which again, for the average comic reader is no big deal. Not a problem at all. But for someone who's not used to reading comics, it's a more familiar size. It's more in the vein of what they are used to. Yes, and that's why things on TV were $19.95. If you guys remember Kmart was known as a discount store. And the biggest discount they had is all of their prices were 97 or 47. Everything ended in 7 instead of 9. So you immediately went, well, that's cheaper. It may be 2 pennies cheaper, but oh yeah, everything there's 97 is cheaper. psychological pricing. But yeah, so the size of the book feels more like what they're used to. And you can drop this in your book bag, or, you throw this in your purse, or heck, that'll fit in the back of my pants. The pockets of my pants are huge. But you get the idea. It's easier to carry around. And again, this is a line I think is geared to readers who do not read comics. It's an outreach to people outside of the industry. And you can see that in a lot of things, especially the lineup of books they're doing. Now, it's the other thing they're doing, and I'm going to pull this. Actually, JD, pull up one of them. Any of them, it doesn't matter. Batman Hush would be good. There you go. Oh, right where it's right up there where the Experience logo is. It says mystery. It tells you the genre on the front of it. Not something we normally do in comics, because in the comic industry, genre doesn't matter. We buy a book for a character or for the creative team. But All-Star Superman is science fiction / fantasy. Far Sector is science fiction. Watchmen is thriller, stuff like that. Yeah, see, they all have that little notation up there, and it tells you guys, it tells the reader what genre it is. And book readers are used to being told by genre, buying things by genre. Bookstores are separated by genre. Yes, and they are all colored. Let's see. I've only read a few comics before I had to battle being dyslexic for a long time. Oh, I'm sorry there, Lego. Hopefully you get a chance to read more and I don't know. Yeah. Well, so book readers are used to genre, and that's what these are doing. Everything is geared towards book readers, because most people already have a copy of Watchmen or have a copy of Hush, if that's your thing. This is introducing it to a new line of readers. Now, Wave 1 is kind of an interesting mix that includes Batman Hush by Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee. There we go. I'm not sure if they're in comic shops. I think they are, but they are available through bookstores. So these are definitely in bookstores. Then you get All-Star Superman by Grant Morrison and Frank Quitely. I'm driving JD nuts today. I'm sorry. I should have given you the order. They are doing Watchmen, which is a classic. It's Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons. They did Batman Court of Owls, a newer Batman story by Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo, and is considered one of the better, more modern Batman stories. Joker by Brian Azzarello and Lee Bermejo. And these all play off the popularity right now of Batman and Superman. Plus, we had a recent live-action Watchmen, and we've got Joker movies right now. We have a brand new Joker movie going to be in theaters in October. Perfect time. Plus, look at that drawing of Joker right there. You can kind of see it. You can see the people who want to go see Joker Folie à Deux that want to see this. But there's more. They took 3 popular female characters and did those books. There's Harley Quinn and the Gotham City Sirens. And this is by Paul Dini, the guy who co-created Harley Quinn, and Gilliam March. Then there's also Catwoman, Trail of the Catwoman, which is Darwin Cook and Ed Brubaker. Ed Brubaker tells great crime stories, and Darwin Cook, who we've lost, who passed away, is just an amazing artist. So it's another great one. And then they did Wonder Woman Earth 1, also by Grant Morrison and Yannick Paquette. Now, after that, there we go. After that, they jumped into a very popular genre, horror. And they do that with American Vampire Book 1, which is by Scott Snyder, Raphael Albuquerque, and look at the last name up there, Stephen King. If you could put Stephen King's name on a book and put it in shops, you want to do that. And finally, the book that I wasn't familiar with at all. I didn't even know this existed. This came out when Jared Way was part of DC with their Young Animals line, and that's Far Sector. Now, this is by science fiction and fantasy novelist N.K. Jemisin and artist Jamal Campbell. And I got to tell you, I just read it. That's the one that I didn't know anything about, and I was most curious. So I got that, and I read it, and I absolutely loved it. It was a total different take on Green Lantern. So if you are looking for one to pick up and you want something new, I mean, you go with the classics. You go All-Star Superman, you go Batman Hush. But if you want something new and you like science fiction, this is a great book. It introduces the Green Lanterns, but kind of on the outside of it. This is a brand new Green Lantern with an experimental ring on the furthest sector of the Guardians area. It's very unique. There's a couple little tiny annoying things, but overall, I really enjoyed the book. So, yeah, Jemisin wrote this. DC is using us as advertising, so when it's public, people can see us and maybe get interested in it. Yeah? Yeah. So that's what these books are basically doing. So you can put it, so they're putting genre on there. They're putting popular characters. They're putting Stephen King's name. They're putting Jemisin's name. It's getting to get the book reader's attention. Now, please remember to click the thumbs up. Thank you. Now, were these the best books to launch with? That could be debatable. Starting with the Batman books, I think Hush is one of the best Batman series ever made. It taps into a majority of the history of the character. It brings in a lot of familiar villains and gives us a legitimate mystery. It's the one that made me try the compact line in the first place. And I own multiple versions of Hush. I have the Absolute Edition. I have the individual comics when they came out. I have the coloring book edition. I have, I own one of the original pages from Hush. See if I can show you real quick. Yeah, wow, I opened right to it. This page over here with Tommy Elliott and Bruce Wayne, I own the original art for that from Jim Lee. It's the number one thing in my collection. My collection's been getting smaller. It won't go anyway. So I have a real good connection to Hush. So that's why I bought it. And I sat down and reread Hush when it came in and enjoyed it. Now, there is a little problem I have with it, and it's being old. So, but I'll get to that later. But again, Batman is one of the most popular heroes in the world. So doing Batman Hush and then Court of Owls, which is a big shift in the character. But again, it plays into a lot of the Robins and stuff like that in the history of Gotham. So again, it's a good choice. All-Star Superman. I would have preferred them to pick something that was in continuity. You know, like maybe Jeff Johns and Gary Frank's Brainiac run or something like that. But All-Star Superman is considered one of the best Superman stories, along with like Red Sun and Kingdom Come and Birthright. But all of them are non-continuity stories. So I can understand wanting to do something this. I mean, James Gunn says this is one of the biggest influences on his new Superman film. So, of course, that's going to get people's attention. But I'd really love this to be a gateway into other super comics. So I would prefer if they did continuity stuff. I hope they do the Halloween. That's my favorite Batman story. I will tell you what the next wave is going to have. I've got some news on that too. But let's get through the current one. Now, Watchmen is a classic, and you knew it was going to be part of this line, just as you know at some point Kingdom Come and Dark Knight Returns will eventually be. It's DC's go-to. It's like going to see your favorite band. You want them to play the hits. So, play Watchmen. So, and the Joker book, again, is a really good call for anyone walking out of the theater in October, having seen Joker Voilà Deux. And let's be honest, Bermejo's art is stunning. I mean, come on. I love that guy's work. Whenever he draws a book, I'm there. And I don't say that about a lot of artists. American Vampire makes a lot of sense because it's away from the costumes. It's away from the heroes. It's vampires. And vampires always have a following in the bookstore. There's always going to be vampire fiction. It'll ebb and flow on how popular, but there's always going to be. There's, the Twilight books. There's the Anne Rice books. There's always going to be vampire books. Catwoman and Harley Quinn books, I think the Catwoman book here, I think was partly because of Darwin Cook, because Ed Brubaker's got a TV show in the works right now. So I think that's part of why they picked it, but also Catwoman was just in the Batman movie. Or Harley Quinn, you get the co-creator of it. The character has had her own movie-ish. She's up in Suicide Squad. She has her animated show. So again, makes sense. That brings us to the last two. Wonder Woman Earth 1 and Far Sector. Now with Wonder Woman, I can't help but think there may have been a better choice. Something in continuity. I mean, yes, it's Grant Morrison. But does Grant Morrison's name sell that well outside of comics? He's known as a comic writer. He's known as doing, more out there things. But that does, what about the runs by Gail Simone, Greg Rucka, George Perez? All of them seem to me would be a better choice than Wonder Woman Earth 1. Not saying that it's a bad book, but again, I still think in continuity makes a lot more sense. And then the riskiest one, again, Far Sector. And again, it was one I was most intrigued by. Now, you've got this new Green Lantern, Sojourner Malene, and it's a science fiction murder mystery. And anytime you have a murder mystery or a mystery in a book, that should be your number one component when you're working on a long series of anywhere from 6 to 12 issues. You need a mystery to get readers to come back. I think that's why Hush works so well. And in a lot of ways, this has a lot of the components of Hush. It also has a very familiar kind of cyberpunk feel. So, again, it's a big gamble, but you're talking about an author who's known for science fiction and fantasy. So again, in this one, they're completely going past the normal readers and trying to get the book readers. So I think that's a good choice, and a chance to introduce the Green Lanterns without having to worry too much about continuity. The Green Lantern Corps and all that is just kind of hinted at and talked about, but you don't have all those years of continuity on this one to worry about. So in this sense, where Wonder Woman's had 2 movies, one of them awesome. Wonder Woman is a recognizable character. Green Lantern isn't as much. So where Wonder Woman should be used to bring people into other Wonder Woman stories, this Green Lantern should be very accessible. And I think this book is. Lorian says, I'm going to get all the compacts, even if I have to get a magnifier glass. And at the $9.99 price point, that makes a lot of sense. Now, overall, I think they were good choices. Wave 2 will start in March of 2025 and is going to include, and this will not surprise anybody, Kingdom Come by Alex Ross and Mark Waid. A nice one here, Static Season 1 by Vida Ali, Reginald Hudlin, and Nicholas Draper Ivey and Dennis Cowan. So I think that's a great one as well. Deceased by Tom Taylor, Trevor Harrison, and Stefano Gaudiano. I'm not sure about that one. Deceased. Superman Birthright by Mark Waid and Leinil Youth. I think that's a great choice. Superman Batman Book 1. And that's still going to announce which creators are picked for that. And Batwoman Elegy by Greg Rucka and J.H. Williams III. Now that's interesting because that's the book that got them taken off. So I like that one, though. Oh, nice. I've never read Kingdom Come. There you go. The 2 Superman titles are scheduled right around the release of the new Superman film, so that makes a lot of sense. And the fact that Wave 1 was 10 titles, and we've only got 6 so far of this, I have a feeling we're going to get a few more. 2 books I hope they consider, Ed was saying Batman Long Halloween. I'd love to see Green Arrow Quiver by Kevin Smith and Phil Hester. I think Kevin Smith would be a draw there. Green Arrow is much more popular than he ever was before because of Arrow and stuff like that. But also, there's a book called Adam Strange Planet Heist by Andy Diggle and Pascal Ferry, which I think is just one of the best storylines DC has done. And you can tack on the Thanagarian Rand War if you want. Now, we talked about the choices for the line and the purpose, but let's talk about the format to wrap it up. As a comic reader, you always want the art big as possible. I mean, if they would give you 11 by 17 pages, which is how it's drawn, you do Absolute Batman is that one. It's awesome. I love it. But then you're turning the pages and it's just kind of awkward. Shrinking it is counterproductive to that, but they keep the same ratio, so it looks okay. And again, this is meant for new readers. The one major knock I have on the format, though, has to do with the lettering. When you shrink the page, you shrink the dialogue boxes and balloons, which can make them harder to read. When it's a standard black letters on white, it still works pretty well. I didn't have any issues with that. But when your dialogue boxes with a gradient color fill, which they do in Batman Hush, they didn't do it that much in Far Sector, and they don't do it that much in All-Star Superman. But in Hush, they would go from this darker blue down to white, and they'd put the black lettering, and I would not be able to read the top line unless I had light directly on it because the contrast is not there. And if you're younger, that's probably not a problem, but I'm old. Just saying. And that's a drawback to the story. Ed says, if you are a Superman fan, I also highly recommend Red Sun. Red Sun's a really good book. All right. Does the compact side make it hard to see the parts of the pages in the spine? No, it surprisingly does pretty good with that. Because of the way they did the spine, it opens up pretty well. So, Lorena says, yeah, I had trouble with that, so I started searching for magnifying light on Amazon. There you go. Yeah. Now, I like the DC compact comic line. I think it has a lot of potential. And I've already picked up 3, like I showed you. And we'll probably get a few more. I may also loan these out to people. Something I would never do with my comics. But it's the type of initiative that puts the focus on new readers, something we could definitely use. Now, if they could just make a deal with the theater chains to have them sitting on a rack outside the theaters for sale, I think that would be great. I think we might actually be able to get back some of the younger readership. So, all right, guys, we're going to take a quick break, come back. I got some key collectibles that tie into the compact comics to wrap it up. So be right back.
Twitch, it's not just what happens when you have too many energy drinks anymore. Check out our content over there, too.
Something is speaking to you. Buy more comics. Just at the edge of your perception. Buy more comics. Your senses fill with visions of vortices. 360 comics. Slowly drawing you to one thundering epiphany. 360 comics! 360 comics! 360 comics! The universe is telling you to shop with 360 Comics. Joe's got amazing stock from high dollar to $5 books from Silver Age to modern, CGC, variant covers, and more. 360 Comics every Wednesday at 9 Eastern, part of The Experience. Ask your local comic shop to add Battle Quest comics to your pull list today.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Dan Wickline Show. I want to comment about Lorena's comment. Yeah, the paper quality in these books is really nice. Also, I have read both of these cover to cover, and as you can see, they still look pristine on the edges. So no problem with that at all. I am very impressed with these books, and we'll buy more. All right, I thought it would be fun to go through. Rings of Power dropped this morning. Yep, I'll have to watch that. I think I have to catch up with Lisa. She hasn't seen the first season. All right, we're going to go through the first issue of each of the compact comics to see what the value of it is. Skipping Wonder Woman, Earth One, and Joker because neither one, they don't have first issues. They were trade paperbacks originally, or they were graphic novels first. Catwoman #1. This was by Greg Rucka and Darwin Cook. This is not necessarily the first story in the book, but because I think there was a tie-in thing. But it is the first issue of their run together. High on this is only $5, median's $2, low end's $1. Then we have American Vampire, again, Scott Snyder, Raphael Albuquerque, and Stephen King. This won the 2011 Harvey Award for Best New Series. High end on this is 12, median's 4, low end is 1. Gotham City Sirens from 2009. This was the first appearance of the Gotham City Sirens as a team. This was by Paul Dini and Gilliam March. High end this is $30. Median's 9, low end is 3. Batman 608. This was what kicked off the Hush story. And I used to race to the comic story the week it came out. Comic Stories the week it came out just to pick it up. That's how much I love this series. This was a high end of $20. Median is 8, low end is 2. All-Star Superman #1 from 2005. This is, again, said to be a major influence on James Gunn's Superman movie. High end on this is 8, median is 2, low end is 1. Far Sector #1. Now, this is probably the most recent comic from 2019. This was part of the Young Animals initiative started by Jared Way. High end on this is 20, median is 8, low end is 2. Batman #1. This was a relaunch of Batman. It's only the second standalone series from 2011. High end on this is 30, median is 9, low end is 3. And of course, Watchmen #1 from 1986. This explores the darker side of heroes from a realistic, flawed perspective. High end on this is 60, median is 15, low end is 5. All right, guys. that is our show for today. I appreciate you guys tuning in and joining the chat. It's always fun when you guys get involved. I appreciate that. So Triple B, Jay, Lorena, Ed, all you guys, I appreciate all of you being here. Lego and Jason, what does the New 52 mean? A few years back, the New 52 was an initiative that DC did shortly after Infinite Crisis, Identity Crisis, one of their Infinite Crisis, I think it was. And it was a soft reboot of the series. So some of the books that were doing well stayed exactly the same, while others were rebooted and started over in continuity. It didn't last that long, and it got rebooted again or replaced by Rebirth, as JD says. So, all right, guys, have a great weekend. Like I said, probably no Pop Go the Writers this week, but I'll let you know when I know what's going on. And I will see you next week. Have a great holiday weekend. Take care, everybody.